Hello, and welcome to QuickBooks Made Easy for Nonprofits Quick Tip. I'm Greg Bosson. This tip is for September of 2021, and this is for people that are using the desktop version of QuickBooks, obviously, because that's what's on your computer screen. Oh, I should change this. A lot of times people have their left icon bar over here, so this might make you feel better. But anyway, so what we're going to be learning today in this tip is dealing with these people that are getting into your QuickBooks, other people besides you, and screwing it up. And really, what we're going to be talking about is how in QuickBooks Premier Nonprofit Edition, which you can get from TechSoup, by the way, really, really cheaply. Um, we're going to be talking about how in the QuickBooks Premier Nonprofit Edition, you can control what they can and can't get into. All right. It's actually pretty cool. And I should just show you real quick. TechSoup, if you're not aware of it, you should be. You can get QuickBooks Premier Nonprofit for $78. That's a single user license when one person can be in at a time versus $168, three people can be in at the same time, which is kind of nice. So you should definitely be getting QuickBooks from TechSoup. Okay. Now I should tell you that when version 2022 comes out of QuickBooks Desktop, it's going to be subscription based. I don't know what the price is going to be yet on TechSoup's website, but I'm sure it'll be a lot less expensive, assuming they have it on the TechSoup's website. But anyway, here we go. If it's on TechSoup's website, it'll be much cheaper than what you would have to pay normally. So the short answer is buy QuickBooks from TechSoup. But anyway, let's move on. So what we're talking about is when you have QuickBooks, you can have more than one person go in. You may be going in doing a lot of the work, but you may have an executive director that wants to go in. You may be lucky enough to have an assistant like an AP clerk or something that's going to help you out. So there's going to be more than one person in. So rather than giving them your username and your password so that they can do everything you can do, you need to set them up with their own username and password, and then you can control what they can and can't get into. So in order to do this, the head user, the administrative user, which is probably you, needs to go to Company and set up users and passwords and set up users. Okay. Now, it wants me to put in my password first because it wants to make sure that indeed I'm the head administrator before it lets me in. But anyway, as you can see, I have 4 users. And by the way, you can have an unlimited number of users in QuickBooks Desktop. It's just that you can only have a certain number in at the same time. In QuickBooks Pro and QuickBooks Premier Nonprofit, you can have up to, I believe, 5 users in at the same time. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong. That's an ancillary point. All right. My main point is that you can have an unlimited number of users. And we've got Bill, who's an AP clerk. We've got Bob, who's an annoying board member. And then we have Carol, who's an AR clerk. And then we have me. I'm the admin. Okay. So what we want to do is I just want to show you that when you go to add a user, so I'm going to click add user, and I'll just put a name here, Dave. Actually, Dave, and I'll make them AP too, AP, okay? And then we can give Dave a password. Doesn't matter what password we give Dave because Dave can change the password once they get in under their own username. And we may not know that password, but it doesn't matter because we can just delete Dave as a user if we don't like him, okay? So we don't really need to know his password, but initially we'll give him a password, okay? I just memorized one and put it in there. You obviously type it. So now I could give Dave access to everything, but he's an AP person. All he's doing is entering bills. So I'm going to do selected areas. I'll click next. And then for each area of QuickBooks, I can give him no access, full access, or partial access. I don't want him to deal with sales and accounts receivable at all. I do want him to do purchases and payables. I don't want to give him full access, though. I'm going to give him selective access. I'm going to allow him to be able to create transactions and create reports, but I don't want him to be able to print things. Okay, so I'm going to control that way. And then a no access to checking, no access to timesheets, no access to payroll, no access to sensitive accounting activities, no access to reporting. And do I want him to be able to change or delete in the areas he has access to? Sure. Okay. Do I want him to change or delete stuff before the closing date? Absolutely not. I'll click finish. All right, so now we have Dave in as AP. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on Carol. So you can see for Carol, she's AR. So all she's doing is recording income. Okay, so I'm going to give her selected areas of access. I'm going to give her full access to sales and accounts receivable, but no access to the rest of the program. And then we'll look at Bob. He's a board member. I'm going to give him no access to anything except for reports. I'm going to give him full access to reports. That way, if you have board members that want to get in and look around, and you may actually have to do this through your ED, you can just give them reporting access so they can look all they want, but they can't be screwing around with any transactions. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. And then right now, I'm in as myself, so I can do anything. You know, I can enter a bill, I can create an invoice, I can obviously look at reports. I'm in as myself. I can do whatever I want to. I double click on a report, I get to the transaction list, I get to a transaction, I can change it. I go to my chart of accounts list, I can see everything. Okay. Now I'm going to go in as let's go in as Dave. So I'm going to open up the program and Dave. I think I put Dave. It might be David. I hope it's not. Let's see if that worked. Now Dave's a brand new user. Oh, I must have put David. All right. Here we go. No, I did not. That's strange. All right. Well, oh, I know what I did. I forgot the AP part. Dave AP. There we go. Now it should work. All right, great. See, we all make mistakes in this life. So let's look and see what old Dave can do. Okay, so Dave should be able to enter a bill, and Dave can. Dave should be able to pay a bill, and Dave can. Now, do we have any bills in this data file? Yeah, we do. Wonder if I can print it. Nope, he can't print. Okay, let's see. Can Dave do an invoice? Nope. Can Dave look at a report? Let's look at a P&L here. No. Let's look at the chart of accounts. Now, Dave can get into the chart of accounts, and the reason why is because he can enter a bill. So there's your chart of accounts list right there. So since he can see the chart of accounts list in a bill screen, they're like, well, shoot, we're just going to let him see the chart of accounts list. But notice how he can't see any balances except for accounts payable. That makes sense. All right. Now let's go in and let's take a look at Carol. She's the one who is a receivable person. And you can play around with this. You can edit your current users to control their access too. It's not like you have to change them, add new users or something. So this is going to be Carol AR. And let's see what Carol can do. All right. So Carol should be able to do an invoice. She certainly can, but she cannot enter a bill. Okay. And let's see what she sees when she sees the chart of accounts. All she sees is memberships receivable. Makes sense. All right. And I'm not sure if I did this yet or not, but she can't do a report. All right. So let's go in for our old board member. Good old annoying board member Bob, okay, who's always troubling me for these weird reports that nobody else wants, and then Bob doesn't even show up to the board meeting. But let's go ahead. So this is Bob board. Whoops. Okay. I'll put in his password. So let's see what Bob can do. So there's buttons here, but can't enter a bill, can't look at an invoice. Can he look at the chart of accounts list? He can look at the list, but nothing on here, okay? Can he look at a report? He better be able to look at a report. He can. Can he double click and see what's in it? Yes. Can he double click to get to the transaction? No. Because you see, if he could get into the transaction, then QuickBooks isn't fancy enough to make it where he can't change it. He can only look at it. So that way they're like, you know what? If he's only looking at reports, he can only look at reports. And this is basically a report. This is a transaction report, but it's a report. Okay? Piece of paper with data on it. It's not a transaction though. Can't get into the transaction windows. So anyway, enough about that. So you should definitely set up users and you should control what they can and can't get into. I hope you enjoyed this tip. And obviously this was for QuickBooks Desktop users. I think I already said that at the beginning. And I guess that's it. Catch you later.